I've been told Mason Mount is proper Chelsea. I've been told it's not about the money. I've been told it's not about the length of the contract and it's all about value. And that's exactly that is actively being reported about the drama surrounding Mason Mount's contract. Guys, it's not looking good at this moment in time. Liverpool versus Chelsea match preview, and Graham Potter had a lot to say in his interview. And the topics that are going to be surrounding today: Marc Cucurella, is Mudryk going to start? Whether the atmosphere around the dressing room is great at this moment in time. The injury news: one player's back on the bench, two players are back in full training like we've reported 2 days ago. And finally, the biggest point of all, the one that everyone's most excited about: are there going to be any more transfers? He gives us an insight, and I can't wait to Welcome to the Kavkas View, and it's been a while since I've done a match preview because I can't lie to you, I struggle to listen to Graham Potter's interviews because he talks very slow, he's very monotone, he's very boring, as I would say. Tuchel had a little bit more charisma, a little bit cheeky chappy, you know, so I liked it a bit more. But today I decided to put myself through it and I actually very enjoyed it. So maybe in the coming weeks you're going to be getting a few more of these. But before we continue, you hit the like button because we're aiming for 1,000 likes on this video. Subscribe to the channel because obviously that just supports me. And that's the best way of you guys doing it. And in the comments below, if you guys want to do a super thanks or something like that, I'll definitely respond to that. But otherwise, if I like your comment, I respond. So let's get Alright, objectivity, heart on my sleeve. I'm being brutally honest about this topic. Mason Mount. Mason Mount broke through the Chelsea Academy, went on loan to Vitesse Arnhem, absolutely smashed it, went to Derby, done a good job, came back to Premier League with Chelsea, and all of a sudden, he broke through. And he had a good initial first season, he had a good season under Tuchel where he won the Champions League, and then, in my opinion, he stagnated. The development of the player just hasn't been going as planned, and he's nowhere near the player that we expected him to be at the age of 23, 24. But we're not talking about the player, we're talking about the contract situation and what's going on. Mason Mount's got, I think, 18 months left on his deal. Mason Mount's contract expires at the end of next year. Liverpool are on high alert, like the highest of high. They want to get this player if it's possible. Mason Mount is currently earning £75,000. On the grand scheme of things, a £75,000 contract for Mason Mount is too low. This is a first team starter. This is a player that is meant to be a vocal point of any success that we have, and he's a player that starts majority of our games, whether it's Carling Cup, FA Cup, Champions League or Prem. So I understand why his team is renegotiating and they want a new deal, obviously with a bumper pay rise. What I'm about to say, a lot of you are not going to agree. As a player and as his agents, they have a responsibility to get as much money as possible. So he is within his right to ask for whatever he's asking. We don't know what he's asking for. We've seen reports asking from 150,000 to 300k. I believe, and this is my opinion right now, he's asking for 150 base and anything else up to 300 in potential bonuses, right? And if he plays well, he gets paid more. That's what I think is happening here, because the numbers that are being projected are consistently in and around that range. Like we know with Reece James. Reece James is 250 if his performances are good enough, so he's meeting certain quotas. Listen, if we're winning games and Reece is delivering, he deserves to get paid that much. And you know what? Mason Mount can ask for that as well, because he came through the academy like Reece, he broke into the team like Reece, and he's been a sample of our team. But the question now arises, what's going on? Well, the Mount and Chelsea have broke down in talks. At this moment in time, the talks have stalled and we don't know what's going to happen in the near future because they've been negotiating, I'm not exaggerating, for maybe 12 months, maybe even longer. We saw these conversations when Marina and Roman were still in charge. Then when Bowley came in, they said, it was first two things they're going to do is tie up Reece and Mount. Reece tied up within a month. And literally, come September, Reece was tied up. He was Mr. Chelsea. Now, with Mason Mount, we're in January, people. And it's getting to the point now where other clubs are like, yo, there is trouble in paradise. Is he going to resign? Chelsea are not meeting Mount's wage demands. All Mount wants is for Chelsea to value him the way they value other players. My question here is Mount worth the money? Is Mount worth it? Because for me, where does Mount play in the long term of Chelsea? Especially if we get Joao Felix on a permanent, especially if Kai Havertz stays, because he's another one that's in line with a new contract, but we're not hearing anything about it. So it's very interesting, and it's something that we need to keep an eye on. I want to hear your opinions on this, though. It's super. All right, so Mr. Graham Potter came out, and he spoke about multiple things. And when he spoke about those things, number one, he started with a team. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is fit, and he's on the bench, and he could feature, potentially, which is great news, right? It's something we want to see. Ruben's a good player. Whether Ruben is creme de la creme, we need additional players in that midfield at this moment in time. Number two, he said Ben and Reece are in full training. They're not fit enough for this week. I think we all expected that. The expected return of those two players is in February. So maybe first week February, we could be seeing them get back into the team. That's all the team news we got given at this moment. Graham Potter also got asked about the signings and what's going on at the training ground. And this was very interesting for me because he was very extravagant and he was actually very enthusiastic about what he said. He said there's a buzz around the training ground. It's new players coming back from the time that they've been away. The injured players are coming back, from the time that they've been away. New players coming in. And there's just a feel-good atmosphere around the club, and they feel like they can kick on for the second half of the season. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been having this. Like, I feel like we went through a bad patch. We went into the wilderness. We're coming out fighting, and now hopefully we can build on this. With a win tomorrow, it can be positive. It can be something we can say cheers about, and we can absolutely back our team to the fullest. I can't wait for it. So then he got asked about any more transfer additions, and this was interesting. He said he doesn't think there'll be many more. Listen, I don't believe a word coming out of his mouth. We're linked with Caicedo, we're openly linked with right backs consistently, and we're about to sign Noni. So I think he's chatting rubbish. I think this is one way just to not tell the world that, listen, we're going to spend more money and get more questions like, who are you going to sign? Why are you going to sign him? Or what does it mean for your squad depth? I think he's avoiding the question. What was very interesting to me, he was very honest about Mudryk, and he basically said, the guy's not playing 90 minutes, he can't. Look, the season at Shakhtar's been over for a while. This guy hasn't played a competitive game in a long time. So to ask him to all of a sudden go into a Premier League game, yes, it's against Trent, yes, we're going to expect him to cook him, but I don't think this is going to happen. He said there's a good chance we might see him. He's been training really well. What else do you expect him to say? But one thing I am going to say, stagger your expectations. I don't believe he's going to hit the ground running the way everyone wants him to. I think he's going to need to warm up. He's going to have to convey his talent slowly. All that matters tomorrow is the win. That's all I want. I don't care how Mudryk plays. Yes, it'll be nice to see him have a jinkity run. But otherwise, for me, I just want to win the game. Finally, Potter comes out at the defense of Marc Cucurella. And guys, I think we need to listen to this, right? Because I'm sick and tired of people bad-mouthing Cucurella. I'm sick and tired of people creating this narrative that Cucurella is a bum and we spent too much money on him. He said Cucurella's been having family problems and personal problems to the point where that's why he hasn't been playing. There's a lot of things going on off the pitch. And you know what, guys? I think we forget about stuff like that. I think when people move jobs, because that's essentially what he done, there's a lot of changes in circumstances. Families move, so his kids are most probably moved school. His missus all of a sudden is living in a different area, needs to make new friends, and most probably had to move jobs. And more importantly, he needs to fit in a new environment and new expectations. So can we just give it a rest with he's a terrible player and we don't rate him? Because we think he's talented, and in 3 to 4 months time, when he's picked up his form, we're all going to be saying best left back in the world. We're going to be making claims like that. So can we just skip the nonsense, back the player? Because I think there's one player in there that is going to be a talent for Chelsea, and can we just give him time before everyone jumps on his neck? And I'm very happy for Potter to come out. In regards for a prediction for tomorrow, I want to be positive, I want to be optimistic, and I don't know where I'm getting this optimism from, but I think we're going to win this game. I don't think Liverpool are great, and I don't think we're good either. So it's going to be a messy game. It's going to be a tricky game, and we're going to have to step up and make ourselves be counted. But, and this is a big but, right? Chelsea are going to attack them. I think if we go there and try to defend, I think we're going to go out there, try give Trent a problem. Van Dijk's not playing. They're going to be shaky at the back. They've got Alisson in goal, but we're going to have to test him, and I think we can win the midfield. If we get in and around Fabinho, cause him a bit of problems, he doesn't look great at this moment in time. Gakpo, maybe Nunez and Salah, That's a problem. We're going to have to try and match that intensity. But I believe in our boys. I believe in our team. I think we're going to win this game 2-1. And I think it's going to be a start for a good second half to the season. But that was the preview. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out.